Think of the loneliest moment you've ever experienced. Maybe it was in a crowded room where nobody noticed you. Maybe it was lying awake in the middle of the night, staring at the ceiling, feeling as if the world had forgotten you existed. Imagine the weight of that silence, the ache of isolation, the terrifying thought that you might be trapped inside your own mind forever. Now imagine if everything you've ever believed about that feeling was wrong. Imagine if you were never truly alone at all. What if the awareness you call yours is not sealed off behind the walls of your skull, but part of something vast, indivisible, and shared by every being who has ever lived? Tonight, we're going to explore a mystery that has haunted mystics, scientists, and philosophers for centuries. The possibility that consciousness is not many, but one. Picture this, a child sitting in a dark room. She hears the creak of the house settling, the distant hum of traffic, her own heart pounding in her chest. She believes these perceptions belong only to her, that her mind is a private space sealed against the world. But what if that room is not really a box? What if it's a window into the same infinite field of awareness that looks through every pair of eyes, beats through every heart, and listens through every set of ears? What if her loneliness is not reality but an illusion projected by the ego? The idea sounds radical, even impossible. After all, every instinct tells us that we are separate. You feel pain when you stub your toe, not when your neighbor does. Your thoughts appear inside your mind, not on the movie screen across the street. Yet cracks appear in this story when we look closer. Neuroscience shows that what we call the self is stitched together by networks in the brain that spin narratives out of memory and sensation. The default mode network creates the constant chatter of me, mine, and I. But scientists admit something unsettling. While the brain generates patterns of experience, no one can explain why there is an inner witness at all. Why is there something it is like to be you? Why does awareness exist? This is the famous hard problem of consciousness, and every proposed answer seems to point towards something beyond the individual brain. In the 1960s, experiments with split-brain patients shook the foundation of neuroscience. Surgeons severed the corpus callosum, the thick band of fibers connecting the left and right hemispheres, to treat severe epilepsy. What they found was chilling. The two hemispheres began to behave like separate agents. One hand could button a shirt while the other unbuttoned it. One hemisphere could respond to a question while the other remained silent, unaware. It was as if two centers of selfhood coexisted in the same skull. But here's the strange part. The patient still felt like one person most of the time. Consciousness itself didn't split cleanly. It bent, shimmered, produced paradox. Was the self just an illusion stitched together by brain integration? If two selves could appear in one skull, could one self stretch across many? Meanwhile, physics was rewriting reality at its deepest level. In the quantum world, particles separated by vast distances behaved as if they were still connected. Entangled photons influenced each other instantaneously, defying the speed of light. It was as though the universe itself operated not as a collection of separate things, but as a single, inseparable system. Some scientists, like physicist Erwin Schrödinger, dared to draw the parallel. Consciousness might be like a field, not many minds, but one continuum manifesting through different channels. Imagine the ocean. Each wave appears distinct, but all are movements of the same water. What we call my awareness may just be a crest on this endless sea. But long before laboratories and particle accelerators, mystics were whispering the same secret. In ancient India, the sages of Advaita Vedanta declared, Tattvam asi, that thou art. You are not a fragment cut off from reality. You are reality itself. In Buddhist teachings, the doctrine of anatta, or no self, revealed that the sense of a solid, independent ego is a mirage. In the poetry of Sufism, Rumi wrote of the beloved reflecting in every face, the divine seeing itself through countless eyes. Across cultures and centuries, the refrain is the same. Beneath the surface multiplicity, there is only one awareness, timeless and unbroken. But let's pause here, because this idea isn't just abstract philosophy. It strikes at the heart of human experience, especially loneliness. Think of grief. The emptiness after someone you loved is gone. The silence in their chair, the absence of their laugh. The ego tells you they are lost forever, separated into nothingness. But if consciousness is not divided, if awareness itself cannot be broken, then what you mourn is not a vanished presence but a changing form of the same field you are immersed in. The silence is not absence. It is presence in another disguise. The boundaries between you and them were always more porous than you realized. Every smile you shared was awareness recognizing itself. Every embrace was the field folding back on itself in joy. This reframing also challenges how we see connection. Think of looking into someone's eyes. There's a moment, fleeting, electric, when the distinction between seer and seen begins to blur. You are no longer two people locked in separate interiors. You are one gaze, one awareness, looking at itself from two directions. Psychologists describe this as intersubjectivity. Mystics describe it as awakening. Either way, it feels like a crack in the prison wall of separateness, a reminder that perhaps you were never inside a prison to begin with. And yet, the ego resists. It insists on boundaries, on ownership, on the narrative of me. That resistance is powerful because it helps us survive as individuals. Without a sense of self, how would you navigate the world, protect your body, pursue your goals? The self is a useful illusion, but an illusion nonetheless. Neuroscientist Anil Seth calls consciousness a controlled hallucination, a model generated by the brain to predict and survive. But what if that hallucination overlays a deeper truth? Just as a map is not the territory, the self is not the field. It's just a sketch drawn on top of it. Imagine for a moment that you're standing on a cliff at night, staring at the stars. The vastness makes you feel small, separate, and fragile. But then you realize that the atoms in your body were forged in the heart of stars. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen you breathe, all born in stellar furnaces billions of years ago. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are the cosmos looking back at itself. Awareness may be no different. You are not a lonely spectator of the universe. You are the universe's awareness localized in a particular form. This realization carries profound ethical consequences. If the awareness behind your eyes is the same awareness behind mine, then harming another is harming yourself. Compassion stops being an act of charity and becomes an act of recognition. The environment is no longer out there. It is the shared body of consciousness, wounded when we exploit it, healed when we care for it. Loneliness itself begins to unravel. The ache of isolation may be real, but it is a misinterpretation, like mist that makes us miss the mountain behind it. When the mist clears, you see the whole landscape. Every being, every mind, every breath, arising within the same indivisible field. Let's take this even further. Imagine death. Most fear it as the ultimate separation, the final loneliness. But if consciousness is one, death is not the end of awareness. It is the end of a particular pattern. The wave subsides, but the ocean remains. Countless testimonies from near-death experiences describe a sense of merging with a vast, luminous presence, free of boundaries, full of peace. Skeptics argue these are just brain hallucinations. But even if that's true, why does the hallucination so consistently reveal unity rather than isolation? Perhaps the brain, in its final moments, loosens its grip on the illusion of separation, and the field begins to shine through. Now imagine the implications if this is true. Every conversation you've ever had was awareness speaking to itself. Every conflict was the field colliding with itself in misunderstanding. Every kiss was the same presence folding back into intimacy with itself. And every time you felt utterly alone, it was not reality that abandoned you. It was a story whispered by the ego, a mirage hiding the endless company of existence. Of course, skepticism is healthy. The unity of consciousness is not something we can yet prove in a laboratory. Neuroscience continues to debate whether awareness arises from brain complexity, quantum processes, or something deeper we can't measure. But the hypothesis remains alive because experience itself keeps pointing to it. Mystical traditions, near-death reports, psychedelic visions, and moments of deep meditation all converge on the same strange conclusion. Separation is not ultimate. Something more fundamental is happening beneath the surface. So where does this leave us? Perhaps with an invitation. The next time loneliness grips you, try this. Close your eyes and turn attention toward the awareness itself, not the thoughts within it. Ask yourself, where do I end and the world begins? Notice how sensations, sounds, and thoughts all arise in the same open space of awareness. Can you actually find a boundary? Or does the boundary dissolve when you stop looking through the lens of the ego? This experiment costs nothing but could change everything. Because if awareness is unbroken, then every smile you've ever seen, every silence you've ever endured, and every pair of eyes you've ever looked into were not separate encounters. They were reflections in one mirror, ripples on one sea, sparks from one fire. You have never been truly alone, and you never will be. The field has always been here, watching through you, breathing through you, aching through you, and loving through you. Loneliness is not the final word. Unity is. And perhaps, just perhaps, that is the greatest mystery of all. The one who feels alone is the very same presence that is everywhere, timeless, indivisible. You are the question and the answer, the seeker and the sought, the lonely child in the dark room, and the vast consciousness listening through the silence, whispering back, "You were never separate, not even for a moment."